to finish out the season, the way things closed out, I'm slotting Jackie Young right into that top 5 for me. And then everyone else, again, AT moved down. I kept Kelsey Mitchell at 5. I moved her into my top 5 at the end of the regular season. And then AT is in my second half, and then everyone else moved down. Allisha Gray, Paige Bueckers, John Quell. I was a little iffy on John Quell, but I wanted to give her that respect. But I was wrestling with it. But I still hold her in high regard. I know she was a little banged up this season. So yeah, let's move over to your list. Let's see what.
Now that I have the correct top 5 here. Here we go. Asia Nafisa Alyssa Thomas is my top 3 still. Jackie Young should have been 4. Kelsey Mitchell is in my top 5 now. When we did this last, I had left Kelsey Mitchell right outside because my rationalization was I still felt that Jonquel Jones and Breonna Stewart were good enough when the time they played before the playoffs to be in the top 10 and the top 5, excuse me. I had made a point to mention that I still thought that Jonquel Jones was still the best player in New York. And then Breonna Stewart dropped 30 in a closeout game on one leg and reminded me that I was wrong about that. So when we get to our best and worst takes eventually, that take should probably be in there because boy, was I wrong about Jonquel Jones and Breonna Stewart. Breonna Stewart is 6 for me. I did drop her out of my top 5 for no reason other than between the combination of what Jackie Young did in the postseason and also just what Kelsey Mitchell did in the postseason as well. I was very adamant that I did not think that the Fever would win a series without Caitlin Clark. I didn't think they'd win one with her, but I definitely didn't think they'd win one without her just because of how much she meant to their offense. And I almost, in a way, I kind of feel like I kind of disrespected Kelsey Mitchell in that sense because she was an all-WNBA guard this year. She was one of the 3 best guards in the WNBA this season. She got MVP votes. She was an MVP finalist. Like, she deserved that love. And again, as I alluded to on the pod last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago when it was just you and I were kind of jumping in after game 2 of the finals. Like, for Kelsey Mitchell to play as great as she did and play until her body literally just said, I can't take it anymore, that definitely shows top 5 player to me. Allisha Gray is 7. Nneka Ogwumike, again, it's kind of funny. When we did the top 10 at the beginning of the season, we were reacting to ESPN's top 10, and ESPN, I believe, had Nneka at like in the top 10 or like somewhere like 12 or 15 or something like that. And I just kind of said, like, I'm not sure that Nneka at this point in her career can consistently be a top 10 player. And then she went on to score double-digit points in all but 4 games and have a top 10 season and prove me wrong. So there's that. Kalia Copper is back in my top 10. I feel like even though I was critical of her postseason performance, especially in that series against the Liberty, I did, after going back and kind of looking at a couple of the games and kind of really sitting down and thinking about it, I did think she did what she needed to do with given what her role was. I mean, I texted you at the end of game 3 when Satu had to go out because of the concussion, how all of a sudden Kalia Copper just goes on a run by herself, like just completely comes alive and just kind of reminded us all who she was. Paige Bueckers is number 10. She is at the end. Jonquel Jones and Sabrina Ionescu are completely out of my top 10. The way that series against Phoenix ended, I just left a sour taste in my mouth, I think.
Yeah.
Especially compared to, like, look at what Alyssa Thomas did. You look at what Satu did. Like, Satu, I thought I was really wrestling whether or not I should put Satu in at 10. But between her not being able to finish the season due to the concussion and also just she was streaky in the postseason, I just felt like I couldn't justifiably, like 100% put her in there.
Yeah.
I did also have, I believe, Ryan Howard in my top 10 or towards the end. It was kind of like the same thing. I thought she played okay in that first round series against Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think if she would have played better, the Dream would have made it past the Fever in that series.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was at. But this is my final top 10. And you can tell because I fixed it and then forgot to upload the new one that Jackie Young is the player that when I was doing it quickly this morning before the kid this morning, I had forgot to put her in there. And then I looked at it and I realized I had forgotten her. But she's a top 5 player. And I will say one conversation always comes up, and I do want to get your thoughts on this because I know you have an affinity for guards, having been a guard yourself. One thing I know that always comes up a lot when it comes like the WNBA is how often, especially in this new generation of WNBA talent coming in, like how likely is it that we'll see a guard win MVP?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like aside from the obvious ones, right, like Caitlyn and Paige, that everyone is just like expecting to win an MVP at some point, I feel like Jackie Young is like, I feel like Jackie Young is probably also on there as a player who could win MVP. She likely will never win MVP as long as she's playing alongside A'ja Wilson, because A'ja Wilson, as we talked about last week, is going to be a top 5 player for the next 5 to 6 years, and there's really nothing we can do about that. But Jackie Young this postseason, just, I mean, bro, like, forget going back to how she's playing in 2023. Like, she looked better this postseason than she looked in 2023. And 2023 was the best season of her career. That was the year that she was almost a 50-40-90 player. That was what fueled me to say that I thought she was going to be 50-40-90 this season. And she looked great this year. I mean, I made the comparison to her and D Wade. You had mentioned that she needed to go on an 06 D Wade run. Jackie Young is the real deal. I think she's going to be a mainstay in the top 5, definitely in the top 10 for the next couple years if she continues to play the way that we just saw her play en route to a championship this season.
Yeah, I mean, I MVP of the league, even if she wasn't playing with A'ja, it's still the same challenge of like a guard becoming MVP. Sure. So, you know, that same challenge would exist were she not playing with A'ja, because A'ja would still exist. So, yeah. I mean, I wonder if Jackie Young, for me, it's just mentality for a player like that. I don't know if that's where her mentality is. If her mentality is like, okay, now I know, and they know that I can be looked at as the best guard in this league. Now I want to prove that that's actually what I am and be a first team all WNBA. Like if that's where her mentality is, then maybe she will be one of the guards competing for an MVP in the near future. Let's put the list back up so we can unpack a little bit more. So one of the questions I think we should also get into here is some honorable mentions, or not even honorable mention, but more so, which players would you maybe expect to see or think might have a chance to be in our top 10s, you know, as we get into next season? Or who do you think will, you know, who's not on this list who, you know, might be a worthy top 10 talent, or who could find their way into being a top 10 player next year?
I think Arike is a notable omission just because of the injuries. Like, she didn't play much this season, but if I'm not mistaken, I know she was in my top 10 either at the beginning of the season or the one we did before the beginning of the season. Arike is one of them. Just to put Jeremy's comment back up here, because he dropped a couple of them. I think, and
it's a good list. I like that list, Jeremy. I like Kayla McBride being in there. I like the Kayla McBride love. That's good. I like that.
You know how much I love Rickea Jackson. I think Rickea Jackson will be a top 10 player next year.
I had her name down as a potential. I think it's possible that she might need to, again, another mentality thing. That team might need her to be playing and working like a top 10 player. It might be time for her to overseed Kelsey Plum in the rankings of, like, you know, talent on that team. That might be what they need.
And my last one is actually nice that Skeptical Football Fan has dropped on here. Aliyah Boston. I think Aliyah Boston can be a top 10 player next year as well.
She has that potential.
I think she has that potential. I mean, you look at, we talked about it when I was comparing how she looked with Caitlin Clark to how she looked with Kelsey Mitchell. When those 13 games she was with Caitlin, she looked really, really good. Not that she didn't look good when Caitlin was out, because she did, but it was just like a different level. And I think Aliyah Boston this season, especially in that series against A'ja, and you and I kind of talk about this, and I would love, you know what I'd love to do, actually? I would love to get Dan back on at some point so that the three of us can talk about who A'ja Wilson's rival are and kind of pick up that conversation that you and I had in regards to Aliyah Boston. I think that series showed us, that Fever Aces series showed us that Aliyah Boston has top 10 potential, but she also has the ability to hang with the best of them. Like, if she can hold her own against A'ja, she can hold her own against Fee. She can hold her own against Alyssa Thomas. Like, Asia's the measuring stick, and I think Aliyah Boston is left that Fever Aces series with a lot of confidence, feeling really good about herself, feeling really good about how she played, and I think she's going to hold on to that and take it into next season. And I think she could very well end up on one, if not both, of our lists by the time we do this time next year, for sure.
You know who I had told you that for me, because I had asked you, like, if you had to put someone onto women's basketball, if you had to pick a WNBA player or a couple players to like
Mhm.
show or introduce to someone to like show them an entertaining style of play, like, yo, you are gonna like not just like dominance or skill, but just like more so entertainment. Like, which players would you, players with a bag, or players that are flashy, or players that just play the game in a way that would make it entertaining for someone who either doesn't like women's basketball or doesn't have any experience watching. My answer to you was Chelsea Gray. And Chelsea Gray is just so good, bro, that like at one point I would have no problem putting Chelsea Gray at 10 for me over Sabrina. I told you I was iffy on Jonquel. Like, I like that you included Ka in there. I think Nneka did have a top 10 regular season. So I like the Nneka love as well. But man, Chelsea Gray could have easily been in there for me at 9 and 10. I feel like she's at the point where she's going to kick up, more so in the postseason.
Yeah.
So it may not be like a top 10 whole body of work season. But man, when you just talk about like, who do you want running your team? Like, I would take Chelsea Gray. I mean, look, right now, like, I'm not, Paige Bueckers is better than Chelsea Gray, but right now I would pick Chelsea Gray to run my team, run my
For sure.
championship team.
Yeah.
Like, and listen, if you give Paige a team like the Aces, I'm sure she'll do some winning too. So I'm not saying Paige, again, I know Paige is better than Chelsea Gray right now. That's not what I'm saying. It's as a point guard in terms of winning and playing the game a certain way and getting them like, I just wanted to put that out there because I always want to just make it known, like, Chelsea Gray is one of the best players in the league, even if we don't put her on a top 10 list. Yeah, I had Rakia's name down too. I don't know why you're running from the Caitlin Clark thing unless you really just don't think she could be top 10 next season. But if Caitlin's coming back healthy, she should be in that conversation. Kelsey Plum and Ryan Howard as well. I think Kelsey Plum and Ryan Howard are two players that are going to be like in the top 15 squarely, but are always going to be kind of like fighting for, like, I mean, I think KP is an example of one who could easily be in a top 10. I could see her being in some people's top 10s, right? But I think her and Ryan Howard are two examples of like now like having to make it more known. Like this year, Allisha Gray had a top 10 seed. Allisha Gray is, she made it known. That's why she was first team all W. Right. So, yeah, but I mean, the first name I have is, I mean, if Caitlin's coming back healthy, I mean, she's a name that is in the top 10 when she's been healthy. So we know she barely played this year. So that obviously hurt her case.
You know who else is going to be a top 10 player next year? Angel Reese. No matter where she plays, she's going to be a top 10 player next year. I am fully convinced of that. I put out a video earlier this year on Instagram just saying how I thought she'd be top 15 by the end of the season. I think, in my opinion, she proved that she was a top 15 player in the league. I think she will take the next step, whatever that is, whether that's in Chicago or somewhere else, and be a top 10 player. If she does get traded to Chicago, I think that would help that even more.
You think she finished top 15 this season?
I think if I look back and I thought about the players at the 15 best, yeah, I would say so.
You think so? I feel like top 20. I think I might have to go to 20. I don't, because we've got 10 here. We just named several, well, a couple names we named, got hurt, whatever, but like yeah, still think we got a little ways to go to make that definitive.
She's in there. I think I mean, you're right. I think of the players that we both named, like Ryan Howard's in there. I mean, Jonquel and Sabrina were in my top 10. They didn't completely fall in my top 15. I think she is
Kelsey Plum. I mean,
she's in the bucket. She's in that bucket of top 15 players. I think I'm excited, regardless of what happens with her, as far as like whether she gets traded from Chicago or stays in Chicago. I'm excited to see what year 3 of Angel Reese is. Because she made improvements this season. I think she's going to continue to make those improvements. She picked up a lot of things, I think, from Unrivaled. She picked up some things from her time with Lisa Leslie while she was at Unrivaled. I think she even picked up things along the course of the season, just like as she was growing and learning. Like, She had a rough start to the season. Everyone's ready to like, get on her. And then she turned around and had an exceptional, not even back half. She had like an exceptional, like last 75% of the season before she ended up, before the end of the season just kind of ended all funky because of the stuff she said and all that other nonsense and the back injury and all that. But I have high hopes for Angel Reese next year, which I know you don't think as much of a prime because I always have high hopes for Angel, but I especially have high hopes for Angel.
I have high hopes for her too, but yeah, I don't think I have high hopes for her. Your high hopes equate to her being top 10.
I think
to be as little more than high hopes.
I think by the time we get to the All-Star break next year in her city, I think she'll still be in Chicago. By the time we get to July 25th, 2026, I think Angel Reese will be a top 15 player in the WNBA.
Yeah, I don't think that's unrealistic or far-fetched. I don't.
Yeah. Is there anyone who thinks going to fall out of this, do you think?
What's up?
Do you think there's anyone on this list that might fall out of this list by this time next year?
Well, I don't think Nneka is going to hold up for you, just based on her age, and maybe again, we can't keep putting stuff past her. So who knows? She's the ageless wonder at this point. So maybe she comes. Yeah. But I could see that dropping off. I want to see how Ka comes into next season. She's kind of one of those players that I feel like you just still feel guilty for not respecting her the very first time we did this, and you were
don't feel guilty.
Yeah, you were the one who said I scolded you for not having Aliyah Copper in the top 10. Yeah, but I wasn't scolding. I was just letting you know that you were wrong, that you should have had her in there. And I feel like now you're just making up. You saw her play a couple good games in the finals, and now you're like, oh
no, I think
I'll do it.
No, man, I look, I was wrong. I'm able to admit when I was wrong, but that doesn't have any bearing on like where we're at now.
She finished the season strong. I think we agree that we just talked about it with Dan the other night. I don't think Phoenix used her like a top 10 player. So that's where that's fair. That's not on her, but she looked really good, but like I said before, with her mentality, like she's so talented that like if she's looking to prove to people she's a top 10 player, we'll know it. Like it'll be so there will be no debate. So I want to see how she would come into next season. Anyone else coming off? Like I said, I mean, bro, Sabrina, Jonquel, on my end at 9 and 10, like I said, I was kind of iffy on those. I still feel like Sabrina's a top 10 player. Honestly, I think Sabrina's still a top 10 player.
Okay.
Like, I could see her.
She answered your big question, so I get it. She answered your big question.
Yeah. I mean, she had a really good year, man. She didn't finish great. That series against Phoenix, she really didn't look great. But she had some moment. She wasn't able to like take over like you would want to see like a top, like a top level elite guard do. But I could see Sabrina falling to an 11 or 12 on someone's list. I could see her being outside the top 10. But I think in terms of what she can still do, with the ball in her hands and the progressions that she made this season, I think she still squarely falls in top 10 player in the WNBA territory for now. Yeah. So who's a better defender, Jackie or Aliyah Copper? Those are the two-way guard, maestros right there for sure. Said for you, it's Copper. I don't know, man. It might
Jackie.
It might defend. It might depend on the matchup. I think I saw Aliyah Copper really struggle this, but I shout out to Ka, by the way. I'm going to give a shout out to my guy, Brother Maul, who's if you know, he does exceptional recovery and body work, black yoga, drop your shoulders. He's a good one in the practice, and he was in Phoenix every game working with Aliyah. He's connected to Rutgers players, so Aliyah went to Rutgers. They have that connection even from when she was in college, but she had him out in Phoenix and Vegas for every game, had his table out in the hotel room, getting that good stretch for Ka. So there's a reason why she was moving and looking good out there. So shout out to Brother Maul. But I saw Aliyah really, I told you at the start of the playoffs, I felt like she looked a little like off, like not like not great. But as things went on, like I said, shout out to Brother Maul, she just looked better and better, moving better, shooting better, right? I feel like she got better and better. But to this specifically with defending, she had a hard time guarding Courtney Williams in that Minnesota series. And Courtney Williams is a handful, and most people have a hard time with her speed and her decisiveness. Like, she's very crafty, but man, I felt like I didn't see Ka really like strapping like we know that she can defensively in this postseason. So for right now, I'm gonna go Jackie on that. I think Jackie, when you talk two-way, Jackie struggled with Kelsey Mitchell. That's another player that many people struggle with as well. So but yeah, no, I think on offense and defense, I mean, look, I don't know if we can say like we saw Jackie like strapping people, like even to this point, like, you know, she didn't lock down Kelsey Mitchell, right? I mean, we know Ka and Jackie are two really good defenders, but listen, everyone can get cooked. You go up against someone who's that good offensively, you know, you're going to have a hard time. So, but to that point, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we saw either of them really like, you know, play lockdown defense, like strap people really like we know they can. I think we saw Jackie really take that leap offensively this postseason, and that was more so the story.
Africa Rising says, if Angel is not a top 15 player, is Caitlin a top 15 player? Yes, because Caitlin is better than Angel.
Yeah, so, no, when healthy, like at their best when healthy. I mean, I had Caitlin in my top 10 after her rookie year. Like I had Caitlin top 10 coming into this.
Caitlin didn't just have Angel. Jesus Christ, Martin didn't just have Caitlin in his top 10 coming into the season. He had her
in the top 5. Was her 4? I had her at 4, right? Number 4. I had her in my top 5 coming into the season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is still absurd to me. But,
absurd?
Yes, that's absurd, bro.
Absurd?
That is absurd.
I don't think that's the right adjective you're looking for. Absurd would be like having Courtney Vandersloot in the top 5. The asinine is having Dominique Malunga as the top 5 player right now. That would be asinine. You can't have a player who broke 800,000 records as a rookie in the WNBA as top 5.
I put Angel ninth on a top 10 once, and they wanted my head on a stick, and she broke all kinds of records her rookie season.
She didn't, sure, but we both know it wasn't anywhere close to as many as what Caitlin broke, so don't act like it was.
I know. That's a good point. Follow-up is Angel Reese was injured this year too. Well, Caitlin played 13 games. Angel played like 30. So
yeah, and neither of them are on our top 10. So I mean, the Angel Caitlin thing isn't that relevant to what we're talking about. I know it came up when we just said. I mean, but yeah, this year we don't have either of that. These are our top 10s right here at the end of the year. So
Jeremy threw Veronica Burton in as an honorable mention for his top 10.
That's good. She should be honorable mentioned. I think right now she's objectively a top 15 player, honestly. Based on her season this year, Veronica Burton
was really good this year.
Top 15 to 20 player, easy. Top 20 for sure. She had that kind of season.